Hey everybody, it's the Walker. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're doing a review of the Biolite Basecamp. Let's check it out. How did I come into possession of this fairly unique stove? About a year ago, I think it was July, Biolite had a sale. It was like $200 shipped to my door. So yeah, I went for it. So after owning it for a year and using it, figured it's time to do a review. First, we'll just go through the physical characteristics, then we'll talk about the electronics package. This is a rocket stove. Cast iron is heavy. I'll put up the weights and all of that, but it's not a light. This is nothing you backpack. This is a base camp, car camping, a bug-in type stove. I did not have, also makes a good picnic stove too, I've done that, but I did not have a good time hauling this out in the woods. Cast iron. This cast iron is smart because it retains a lot of heat, and that comes into play with the electronics. There's a handle. Should top that in a minute. The legs basically fold for carrying, and then lock like that. Take a closer look at the top. Inside you can see the aluminum probe for the electric generation via heat differential. This piece right here helps distribute the heat. A little bit of a downside with this. You've got these flat plates though with TIG welds. So like this one here, it's something which could pop off over time, but that's not the end of the world. That will support it above. Little bumps right here to keep it. Here's the adjustment piece. There's a little slit. Little it sticks right in a hole. There's holes all along. Then if I want a solid beam, if I want the heat to spread out, there's also a top grill.
Oh gosh, Kevin, that's a lot of meat. Are we gonna eat that?
I think so.
The stove's a winner.
We haven't eaten yet.
I know, but look at you don't have to worry about charcoal briquettes, lighter fluid.
That's true. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
And you got a light besides.
I do have a light, and I've got enough power to charge my phone.
Yeah, well, and it's all just from scraps of wood.
All from scraps of wood.
On the site.
Steak is looking good, so we'll
all right. So do you need anything from me? I got a couple plates, or you got,
I got the plates right here.
You got a fork?
This is the blower and the part for the electrical generation. It's all one piece here. This is the USB port. There's a switch here. That shows this is has 3 lights, which indicates the battery, well, in theory, is 3/4 charged. It's a bit stiff of a switch, so you got to kind of hold it for a bit. This here will show you the strength of the fan. You have no control over the fan. The fan comes on its own. It starts on low and then works its way up. This is the, I believe this is the heat warning, although it's never gone off on this stove, which is one very good thing. This right here, if I can get it off here without breaking anything. It's a little tricky. Oh. This is a little air filter. You see the fan. This looks just like the stuff from an air conditioner. So I think it's pretty easy to just cut your own and replace it. But it's kind of a fiddly thing to put back. The entire, you know. Oh. There. So I don't like to mess with the door that much if possible. Otherwise, very simple. Very simple. Pulling this flap aside, get access to the USB port. And this USB powered light comes with the stove. It's touch activated. There's a pass through, so you can still use the USB port and the light, although I rarely do that. The battery pack, I believe in there, is 4,000 milliamp hours, but I'll have to check to verify. I'll put that up on the screen. It's a pretty neat little light. Here's the combustion chamber. Cast iron, heavy as heck, but well thought out. Comes with this ash pan. Here's a feeding tray. So like a typical rocket stove, the fuel comes in, air, combustion, and it just pushes through the entire system. The Basecamp is rated for 5 watts of output. This is produced via the differential between the hot side and the cold side, the fire and the fan. But how did it work in actual testing? The fantasy survival situation. I'm lost in the woods. My phone is dead. All I have is this stove, which is empty. I need to make a phone call. Yeah, it's that ridiculous. Dropped right down to 1. And the it attempted to charge the phone, but then immediately kicked off. Empty. Empty. Looking good, looking good. Phone is starting to boot up. Rate of charge is very fast. I don't want people to see my password.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging.
Well, I guess that's it. I guess after all that trouble, I just die. Total transfer time is 46 minutes, and we have 503 milliamp hours transferred to the phone.
Walker,
What's for dinner?
bacon.
Looks like I'm saved. Let's test the charging feature. Let's charge and we'll see what we get. And that's it. So we'll see what we have for a we'll see how many milliamps we transferred over. Okay, so we transferred over 280 milliamp hours from the power pack to my phone before shutdown. Giving about high twos, sometimes around 3 watts. Just got our water boiling. So we have 4 bars for the battery. Fire is showing 2 bars. Phone is 75% charged. We're at 100% on the phone. Only down 1 bar. pretty darn good in my opinion. It seemed to output about 2.5 to 3 watts, which is pretty good considering it's running the fan and all the other electronics in the stove. What makes it better than the, as far as output, than the Camp Stove 2, although the higher rating, it's easy to feed. It just keeps chugging along. It doesn't, I've had no examples of it overheating. I've used it, it was a lot warmer last summer. So I didn't have any problems with overheating, and it just keeps going and going and going, and you can just keep running it. So that's one big advantage. There is actually a power bank function, but I noticed it's pretty marginal, and this seems to be a recurring theme among all the Biolite products that has a power bank function. I would consider that more of a really deep emergency type thing. All right, let's get the stove running, and we're gonna cook bacon steak stir fry. That's right, bacon steak stir fry. Should be good. One of the real nice things, put long pieces of wood. Which reduces the work in processing. Cutting the sacred bacon into stir-fry pieces. Much like the smaller ember light, when I'm cooking, I can just feed the stove from the bottom and not disturb my fry pan. It's kind of nice. That's very nice. I hope that's enough steak. I think it's time to add the bacon garnish. Done. Steak. That's tender. That is like, I'm amazed. Pepper. It's got a little bit of it's soft, but still has a slight bit of a crunch to it. Thank goodness. The mushroom. Good. And of course, the sacred bacon. Perfect. Outstanding. Ashes can also scoot down, even when you have the feeding tray on. This forced air system is pretty efficient, so it doesn't produce a lot of smoke. In fact, when everything's running just fine, pretty much none. Here's the operation of the light. On, off. You hold, it'll dim. Hold again, it intensifies. So it's all done by touch. I'm going to end this review by the light of the Biolite Basecamp. In the year I've owned it, it hasn't let me down, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up. If you like what you've seen, give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.